What's up guys, it's Ren, and this week we are talking about gender dysphoria. And for people who don't know what gender dysphoria is, I think the technical term is when a person experiences feelings of discomfort or distress because their biological sex doesn't match their gender identity. People that experience gender dysphoria are trans people, anyone under the trans umbrella really, because it's not to say that only a trans man or a trans woman can experience gender dysphoria. People who are non-binary or gender fluid, just anywhere on the spectrum under the trans umbrella can experience gender dysphoria, but that's also not to say that everyone under the trans umbrella does actually experience it. I do experience gender dysphoria. I know that a lot of people experience it to a level where they feel they can't leave the house, or they have to do things to suppress the feelings of dysphoria, like binding or packing. I do bind, I don't pack. But what gender dysphoria feels like to me is, it's just this horrible sense of feeling, it's just this kind of horrible feeling of being trapped in your own skin a little bit. The kind of horrible lingering feeling of not feeling like my body is how I actually feel in my head, because I'm very aware that although I am male and I feel male, I was born biologically female, so it is that kind of not really the connection with your own body kind of thing. For me, it feels worse when I think about how I perceive myself, but then thinking about how maybe others might perceive me instead. I don't know good ways to explain it, because I don't think there isn't a set in stone definition for what gender dysphoria actually feels like, but people tend to feel gender dysphoria around certain elements of themselves, I suppose. So I know that for me, I don't actually like using the word dysphoria, because, I don't know, it's just always weirded me out, and when we were on the old channel I did talk about this a little bit. I suppose that I went for so long not knowing the term dysphoria or what it meant that I used different words instead, so I suppose I would use the word anxiety, because it is in a way a type of anxiety about yourself as a trans person, or about your gender identity and how that connects with your body. So I feel most anxious about my voice, because although I've been on testosterone for a while now, I'm still very aware that my voice isn't particularly low and it is still very squeaky, which a lot of people also point out to me. People that I don't know as well. I get told quite often that I sound like I'm on helium, which is just a massive kick in the teeth and also wildly offensive. But yeah, so I feel most dysphoric about my voice, because I know that if I was born biologically male, then maybe my voice would be lower and it wouldn't make people question whether I was male or not. I also feel a lot of dysphoria about my height, because I am pretty short. I think I'm only about 5'3", and I don't know, I feel like that makes me look a lot more feminine, but then I'm also not bulky in any sense. I mean, I'm quite skinny, so I don't have a masculine figure, which makes me feel like that might make people perceive me as less male, which feels horrible. But I think one of the important things about dysphoria is that for a lot of trans people it can get to a stage where it becomes unbearable, and maybe they might start doing more risky things like buying hormones off the internet, or using ace bandages to bind, or using other things to bind which just you should never bind with. So I think it's important that if you are getting to that kind of stage where the dysphoria becomes unbearable, that you should probably go seek medical help, because a lot of people that I know of have been scared to go to their doctors to say that their dysphoria is getting unmanageable to the point where they would do something risky out of the fear that maybe that would put a halt to their transition if they're transitioning medically. But I think the main priority is to stay safe when dealing with dysphoria. So that was a kind of depressing topic, but hopefully next week will be more cheery. But if anyone has any questions, then feel free to drop me a message, or any of the other guys on this channel a message, and I'm leaving my links to all my personal stuff in the description if you want to say something. But I will see you next week.